first remote brings something to the table.
I'm Leslie.
And I'm Shelby, sounding like a man today.
The only benefit of having a cold is having that raspy voice.
That's what everyone keeps saying, but to my ears it sounds so annoying.
No, it sounds cute. I like it. It's all good.
Hopefully it comes through on the audio just fine.
Yeah.
That
Sure, that will happen. This will be an interesting one for sure. For when we get everything loaded up to YouTube.
yeah.
Like these nice sets and backgrounds, and today is a little bit of a mess, but that's okay.
And that's life. And that's
Things
what we're here to talk about is
exactly.
the craziness of it all and the chaos, which is the only consistent thing in our lives, I feel.
I agree. Yeah, everything seems really consistent. For some reason, my eyes seem like they're all over the place. I don't know what's happening.
You know what?
I feel like my eyes, like I'm looking all over the place, but there's distractions, there's dogs, there's things, all
Yeah.
that.
There's construction going on next door.
Oh my gosh.
There's somebody staying in the carriage house in the back, so I'm trying not to look out any of the windows. Anyways, do you want to talk about what you're bringing to the table this week?
Oh, goodness. Yeah, I am trying to bring to the table patience maybe and a little grace. I feel like I say that all the time. Um and like some confidence to advocate for myself because I'm good at advocating in certain situations. And I'm in a situation right now where I would probably tend to just back off and let it go. And I think it's really important not to do that right now. So I'm trying to level myself up a little bit with some growth and advocate on a medical health situation that I have.
Okay.
How about you? What are you bringing to the table?
Different, I guess. I guess I'm bringing a hail tale.
Failed
My
tale.
first experience with actual scary hail that happened
Yes. Did
last
you
night.
get the large ones last night?
Yeah, it was insane. They were bigger
Yeah.
than golf ball size. It was really scary. I went out with this guy. It was as a second date, and we were just at this sports bar out by me, and we were sitting outside. It was fine. We went inside to close our tab and started chatting with some people. 10 minutes maybe went by, and then all of a sudden it was hailing and lightning out of nowhere.
Oh my gosh.
And we were both like, shit. He just got a new car. I got a new car. And
No.
I was just like, whatever. And then
Yeah.
this
You
morning, it was awful.
we didn't have it at my house, but last spring I was literally stuck. It was right when we had the tornado in Highlands Ranch and I was out showing houses and I had to pull over and I was screaming in my car. It was so loud and deafening, the giant hail. It was awful. So I feel I did
Yeah,
not experience last night, but yeah.
it was scary because, what do? You can't run to your car to move
No.
it or anything. Because I reached my hand, out the door to see how, big it was, and it hurt when it hit my hand.
Absolutely. I sat there like I said, I was screaming and I felt like a sitting duck and it felt like a war. Like I thought my glass windows were all going to break and
Yeah.
there was nowhere to go. And I was trying to hide under a tree and it was awful.
Yeah. So now I understand why people park in their garages here.
Yes, because you don't know when it's going to happen. And that's why we get new roofs like every 5 to 7 years because we have so many crazy hailstorms.
That's what someone was telling me today. She was like, you can probably file for through your insurance to get a new roof between the one that happened last year and then this one yesterday. It's I don't know. Okay. But
Yeah, but in the meantime, your poor car. Oh,
it's a bad luck car. No, hopefully not, but that thing's been through it and I've only had it 3 months maybe.
yes. So should we do a ceremony and sage it and put some good crystals in there?
I think probably there's a spider in there, so that's not helping things. Yeah, it
No.
feels. I think I just need a new car. I haven't liked this one from the jump. So I think I'm just like carrying around the negative energy.
Yeah, I think that happens. I had an instance like that too.
Yeah. So that's it. My very first hail tale of being a Colorado resident. Didn't love it. Hope it doesn't happen again.
It will. You're not
No.
planning to move anytime soon. So,
Why are cars made out of like metal? Is what I want to know. They should be made out of rubber so things just bounce off.
well, I will say that the when you file your claim and go get it fixed, they do a phenomenal job at getting all the dents out. They've got that mastered. So, it'll look brand new.
Yeah. Well, that's good news.
That's the good news. Good news is that it's Friday. I'm going to go out of town on Sunday, and I'm very excited about that because I feel like I need a little refresh. I'll
Yeah.
be working, so it won't be that much of a refresh, but it's still good.
Yeah. It's good to just get out of town for a couple days. It just kind of just like shakes things up or loose or something, gets you out of your head.
Yes, change of scenery for sure.
Yeah. No, I was in Breckenridge last weekend and it helped for sure to just like, not that I don't like Denver, but just to like get out, and we're in the mountains. So it was nice, but I didn't realize how hard it is to breathe up there.
It is. Did you have one of the little mini oxygen things?
No, I guess maybe I need them. We weren't really doing like a ton of physical activity. So I was like, oh, this will be fine. But man, I was like out of breath, just like bringing my bags in.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it's a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah. So yay for trips.
Yay! I know, and I'm going to go visit a realtor friend of mine, who we met on Instagram, probably, gosh, 4 years ago, and have become really good friends. And she is in Gig Harbor, which is a little beautiful, beautiful town outside of Seattle. So I'm going to drive over there and we're going to do real estating together. And those homes are gorgeous.
Ooh.
So hopefully I come home. I don't know. I might just have to move into one of them and stay there.
It's worth it. Have a second house. Why not?
Yes, I think they start at 2 million. So not sure that I can afford that, but
Jeez.
they'll
Yeah,
be
you're on your
good.
own with that one.
I know. We're rambling on
Hmm.
as per usual, but
Yeah. So, like, circling back to your what you're bringing to the table, I think that's what we're going to talk about today is advocating for yourself, not only in like medical situations, which is like what you're going through right now, but also in like friendships, when it comes to like setting boundaries, family stuff, relationships, all of that. Because I think being your biggest advocate and doing what is best for you is something that exists in all aspects of our lives. So, do you want to start with your journey that you've been on?
I don't know, maybe not all of it, but I did meet another woman this past week who was referred to me, not really work wise, but just kind of as a chat wise, because she has just gone through a divorce after being married for 27 years. And it's just interesting. I feel like I'm meeting more and more women right now who are single, either because of a death of a spouse or through divorce. And we all kind of have similar stories in our age range of the 50 plus of not really being able to advocate or have our own voices and being in relationships and marriages, partnerships where we didn't have a voice and kind of just expected to do certain things. And now we're coming into our own and trying to figure that out. Um, I, I don't know. It's interesting to see so many women in that place right now, and then also compounded with some health issues. And I don't know if it's just all linked into that brain gut connection, because I think that's very strong. And I was talking to a therapist about it, and she's seeing more women in that 40 to 60 age range, um, who are struggling with these same things, like a lot of health issues, these mysterious illnesses, who are becoming single and trying to find their voice. Whereas like women in their, 70s or 80s, they were taken care of. Granted, they didn't have a lot of independence in their life, but they were still well cared for. And then our generation was just really trained to put our needs last and take care of everyone else. And then I think that younger generation is starting to learn to advocate for themselves and have strong boundaries. We didn't have boundaries. And it's consistent. And so for me right now, just trying to juggle my different health issues, I think that we tend to think that doctors are the experts, and I'm learning that they are not, and that we have to really do our own research. And I think I love Facebook right now because there's so many different groups for health things. And so you can learn from other women who are going through similar issues. And then, like a month ago, I was in the hospital. I was diagnosed with diverticulosis back in 2013, but I've kept it at bay until like the last year where things have been flaring up. And then last month, it was really bad. It put me in the hospital. And every every person who's in this Facebook group, there's one that's co-ed, and then there's one that's just for women. Everyone has a different experience, or doctors are giving everybody all different advice. And something that's so prevalent in today's society, to not have enough studies done about cause or prevention or anything other than surgery, because that seems to be everybody's go-to is let's do surgery. There's just not information out there, and everybody has a different experience. And you have to really advocate for yourself with this particular disease. But along that, that's my other hot topic issue of having an MRI done on my foot like a year ago, having two different doctors say there's no information in here in your report. It was a waste of time and money. And so I've continued to suffer in this pain and issues for like the last 9 months. And then finally, I was referred to another foot and ankle specialist, like just to start fresh. And she pulled up my record and the MRI and the report. She was like, "What are you talking about? There's tons of information. Nobody treated you." And she literally went through the report, like line by line, and explained all the medical jargon to me. And we're on a protocol.
Mm.
And I just wanted to cry because I have spent thousands more dollars and time and discomfort in the last 9 months listening to these other doctors who were incorrect. And so now it's time for me to advocate, especially for one in particular, who has just treated me horribly.
Mm. Was that not that this is a man hating podcast by any means, but we're
Yeah.
just looking at consistencies here in behavior? That was a male doctor, right? The first one that was like, "Oh, they're sorry, there's no information."
Yeah. First doctor was not, but she, I don't know, I like her, but I don't know how like qualified she was. But yes, the second doctor was a male doctor and actually said to me, this was a waste of time and money. There's no information here. And then proceeded to do some other procedures that had a adverse effect on me and caused a lot of other issues. So yeah. And I think, yes, I think men don't, this is the other thing I'm finding. A lot of men don't listen to women and their health issues. And I think we talked about that before. I mean, you don't have our parts. You don't know what we're going through. You're not quite as hormonal, and which is not a bad thing. I mean, we all have hormones. Men have hormones also, but sometimes things are just out of whack.
Yeah.
And men don't seem to care or listen or just write you off. And I'm learning from other women how frustrating that is and who've had similar experiences.
Yeah, and I feel like how can you relate to somebody when you don't have like the same body parts or experiences of somebody else? Like, I know that you can care for them in like a medical way just based on knowledge and like the books of it all, but
Mhm.
if you don't know how they're like actually physically feeling or how things like actually affect them in like based on their gender or their hormones or whatever, I don't know, it's just like, oh, it's just, it would be hard for me to go to like a male gynecologist or something. Like my first gynecologist was a old man,
Yeah.
and my mom picked him, so I was just like, okay, whatever. It's like I would think I was in college. But looking back on it, I'm like, that's weird, first of all. And second of all, he was never very like warm
Right.
or I don't know, caring in any way, which I feel like it's not just the fact that he was a dude. It was just like also the medical industry, like Western medicine. Western
Mhm.
medicine, like it's just black and white, very cold, very sterile, and you're in and you're out and you're just a number.
Yeah. Well, and I don't, it's really rare to find a doctor who is integrative and treats the whole person from a holistic perspective. They're just so quick to stick you on a medication. And, that other doctor, there's just a series of things that took place that were horrible. One of them was putting me on an NSAID on a daily basis for some arthritis issues. And that is complete opposite of what you're supposed to have with diverticulitis. And he knew that. Like, he knew that this was something that I had, and he should have known the difference and didn't care. Just like, stick you on some meds, go on your way.
Which sucks because then it, like, part of the responsibility is on us, people who didn't go to college and spend all this money on like medical school, to do our own research, because you can't trust the people that are supposed to be professionals and like the advocates for your health. But like, who has the time? Because we have full-time jobs too. Like, we have our own careers, and not being able to trust somebody that you're paying so much money to
Mm-hmm.
just feels silly to me.
Just feel you want to be able to trust that they are doing the right thing, and they're not. And so, yeah, I just think you have to start. Thank God for the internet, because otherwise you would just take things at face value back in the day and just be like, yeah, it's a doctor. They went to all the schooling and they should know better. They should
Yeah.
know. I'm also of the age now where the doctors who come in are like 28.
Oh
Okay.
no.
But I'd like to think they're more progressive in this day and age. But it's
Yeah.
interesting, right? Like, yes, so women, there were so few women who were doctors, and so it was always these older men who got into it. But I always feel like, if you're a man, why do you want to be an OBGYN? It seems really strange to me,
No.
unless it's the money value.
Yeah, I haven't quite been able to like put my finger on that one. It's odd. Like, my OBGYN here, or my whatever, I don't know if that's different than a gynecologist, but she's my age. So like, we can joke around about stuff. She's married, but like, yeah, I don't know. We go in and talk about like why we're there. And my dentist is also my age. Like, she's a friend. I know her. So it's cool to have that. But I think like as I get older and they get younger, I'll just be like, oh, this is weird. I was born way before you. But I don't know. You have to trust that they know something.
Yes.
Like,
So, yes, advocating. So there are definitely some steps I'm going to take, because that person has wasted time and money and caused me additional harm, like physically, by doing something he shouldn't have done. And then the reaction that I had that I was never even told about. So
yeah.
that's a scary thing. I'm totally terrified to do that. But I just feel like, surely I'm not the only person that this has happened to. And so, but other people might just stayed quiet. And I think at some point you got to speak up and
Yeah.
prevent them from doing it to others.
Yeah. Trying to figure out too, like, if anyone else has gone through the same experience with this particular person would be probably helpful to you, to like not feel like you're in the wrong for doing this, because I feel like that shame and guilt is like always our first instinct, and thinking that we're the ones doing something wrong, which I feel like is trash. But like, that's our immediate feeling. So
But I have two very different. His response, this was a total waste of time and money. And her response, this is full of information. And here's how you should have been treated.
yeah.
Very different.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I'm happy about that.
Yeah.
That's good news. Bringing it to the table, try to make it positive. I have answers.
I mean, I feel like the same, like, it all ties together, like, just learning to trust your gut, cuz like you've known something has been wrong for a while. It's your body, like, you know it better than anybody. And I think you were telling me that like on the very first doctor, like, you pushed back on something, like she gave you a diagnosis or said you were wrong or something. You're like, no, like, this is right. She was like, oh my God, actually, yeah, you're right. I haven't heard of this thing, but it looks like you do have it.
Well, yes, that was a whole other doctor with the diverticulitis thing, where after I got out of the hospital, I met with somebody and she was rolling right into surgery speak. And I said, I absolutely picking up what you're putting down, except this time it was different. And here's where my pain was. And she was like, that's impossible. I'm like, but it's not, because it's the truth. And here's the doctor in the hospital drew a picture of my colon and explained it. And she said, let me go look at your CAT scan, which, by the way, can I just say, I made the appointment 2 weeks prior. Shouldn't she have looked at my CAT scan before I came in?
Yeah.
I review people's files before I talk to them, but whatever. And then she walks in and she goes, yeah, you're absolutely right. And I just haven't heard of this before. So I don't have any faith in that person now either. It's just,
No, I wouldn't either. Like, you can't trust them after that point. Like, it's your health. It's not like you're getting your nails done and like they messed up the color. Like, this is a big deal.
this is cut you open and take out a portion of your colon. So
Yeah.
I want the best person for that situation.
We can't mess around with that.
Or I don't want that at all. So
Mm.
figure out the other stuff. All right, tell me, do you have something, an experience now? And I'm so embarrassed. I am drinking a Coca-Cola that I never, ever have,
Mm.
but I felt the need to have one today.
That's fine. I'm drinking like my 18th cup of coffee, so it's also not great, but here we are. Yeah, I think I've had various experiences like in the medical industry with stuff, but I think like my what sticks in my mind the most is just like advocating for myself in relationships, not just like romantic relationships, but like friendships and with family too. The romantic part, like I'm still figuring out, like to be totally honest. But one of like the like oldest memories that sticks in my mind, like learning how to do something for me and not do something just to please somebody else, was when I was living in Charlotte and I was like in my early 20s still. And one of my new friends there, Casey, I think we were like sitting by the pool or something, and we were talking about plans for later that night. And she was like, yeah, I'm not going to go because I just like don't feel like it. And I was like, you can do that. Like, I'm sorry, this is an option. Like, you can just say, you don't have to make an excuse. Like, what? So ever and like we talked about that, and she was like, yeah, and if you ever just like aren't feeling something and you don't want to like hang out with me, or like if we have plans and you want to cancel, like I'm never going to get mad at you about that. And so from then on, I've always tried to stick to that as best I can and like be true to myself. But I am like someone who wants to make everybody else happy, and I don't want like I always want people to like me, even though like sometimes I say I don't care, like I always care. I feel like for the most part, I try and like stay true to that. Like if I'm tired or if I'm just like not wanting to like go out on a date with a guy anymore, just
Mm.
because I'm not feeling it or whatever, saying no and just being like, that's it. I just don't want to. And thank you for your time and carry on.
Which, sorry, I laugh about that because at one point when I was dating, I had like this season of yes, where I would say yes to everybody. And so I was going to try to do a second date with someone, even though it was so hard for me to do that second date. But I couldn't do it. Like I just woke up that day just not feeling it, right? I knew it wasn't right. So why waste people's time? So I called him. I don't even think we had text. I guess we did, but we didn't use it. But I called him to say, you know what, I'm just not really feeling it. I appreciate your time, but I think we should cancel tonight. And he called me a worm.
What does that even mean?
And he was so mad and was like,
Oh,
you're such a worm. I can't believe you would do this to me. And it just went off on me. And I was like, right, in hindsight, I dodged a huge bullet.
yeah. Oh
But
my
when you're
God.
saying, yeah, I got the courage to say no. And then I was called a worm. So
That's honestly, I'm gonna put that in my back pocket because that's a really good insult. I do like with that stuff, if you for not all guys certainly, because like I've had to be super honest with some guys and just be like, hey, I'm like just not interested in that way. But like I really enjoyed like meeting you and thank you for dinner, drinks, whatever.
yeah.
And they've been fine with it, but I feel like you get that one off where like his little baby ego was probably bruised and so he took it out on you. And it's silly and like wow, how childish. And like you said, you dodged a bullet,
Right.
but I don't
I do think when you're feeling it, you trust your gut and you know. And I appreciate that so much more because I'm kind of that way. I'll make a plan like a month in advance with girlfriends or whatever. I'm like, yes, I want to do this. But when the day comes, sometimes I'm just so spent or tired and I don't want to do it. And either I'll rally and go or, yeah, just say, I'm so sorry. I just don't have the energy today. And it just feels so much more refreshing. And You don't want to lie and be like, I have a stomach ache. Cause then for me, I feel like, oh gosh, you don't want to put something negative out there because it's going to end up coming back.
Yeah.
So keep it.
Yeah, I was talking about this a little, I guess kind of a little bit like of a similar situation with the guy that I went out with last night. And we were just like, yeah, I don't understand why people like aren't honest with each other when they're dating. And instead of like ghosting somebody or just like turning them down and not giving any reason, it's just like hurtful and it makes the other person like feel really insecure. So just being like, hey, I just don't think it's for me and whatever, just move on is the way to go. Which was interesting because he's younger, he's 27. So I was like, that's interesting. Are you just saying this to me because you think that's what I want to hear? Or like, are you actually somebody who like follows through with this type of behavior? I guess like time will tell, but I thought that was interesting because I feel like guys, I haven't heard that perspective from guys, let alone like a younger guy before. So I'm like, all right, buddy,
Yeah.
respect. Because it's happened to him before. Like, he's gone out with some girls and they've been like, yeah, I'm good. I was like, how does that make you feel when someone does that? It's like, I actually really appreciated it. So I thought that was cool.
It's just amazing how people can find each other anyway. And it's not, and there's plenty of people I have enjoyed as another human. I just didn't feel that kind of romantic interest or enough of a spark to explore it. But it's hard not to take things personally. But it's just, that's what it's all about, is getting to meet other people and see if you click and if there's some kind of connection, and then not to take it personally, but just be honest. Because
Yeah.
you'd rather know.
You're not for everybody. Everybody's not for you. And it just is what it is. And like that, it's easy to say that because I'm like the queen of taking things personally and I take things to heart when it comes to dating. And um it's just like a consistent conversation I have to have with myself internally that like just because they're not texting me 1 million times a day doesn't mean like they don't like me, or just because they're not like checking the boxes that I've already like identified in my mind that is the way that I think they should behave if they like me. Just because
Mhm.
they're not doing that doesn't mean like that they're not interested. It's like you put these expectations on people without their permission. How are they supposed to read your mind?
Yeah.
They can't. So interesting perspective from a 27-year-old guy. That was something that we agreed on. And I was actually talking like to some of the younger gals that I work with at one of the fitness studios too. They're like, we talk about dating all the time, and similar to you and I, like we have dating experiences that are very similar, and they're in their early 20s. I'm 36 now, and like I'm like, gosh, I it's not going to change. Like the shit that they pull now is still, they're still going to do it when you're older.
Well, and older. And yes, my agent. So last night I was with some gals at a happy hour at a friend's house, and they're all over 50, and three of them are dating on the apps, and same thing, like same ghosting. Like one gal, someday I'm gonna blurt out her name, is beautiful and so spunky and incredible personality. She was like, I thought we had an amazing time, and then like fully ghosted. And I don't know. I don't know what they think. Like they just want to keep having all the women in their attention, because not all of them are that great. So they should be happy
No,
that they find a fabulous woman. And you and this person, all my friends are amazing and fabulous. So
I think the dating app culture just like perpetuates the issue of people being like disposable.
yeah.
And like you have this thing at your fingertips where you can just like swipe through 50 people in like 2 minutes, and like you're just constantly looking for the next best thing. And like that's for me, that's not like how I want to live life. Like I want to actually meet people and stuff. So I think that plays into it. People just get caught up in like searching for the best of the best, and
Yeah. No, I
not
agree. It's so easy. It's instant gratification. I'm like, what's next? What's next? And if you've been in a long-term relationship, well, it doesn't make sense, right? I'm thinking if someone was married for 25 years, then they just want to see what else is out there. But there's plenty of people in their 20s and 30s who haven't been married yet, but are still just looking.
Yeah. Looking for some like picture that they've painted in their mind. And like, that's not to say like lower your standards or change what you're looking for just because you're not quite finding it yet. But just like be aware of your patterns and like how you're acting, and maybe think about that's maybe part of the reason why you're not finding somebody yet.
Maybe.
But who knows?
So this will have to be, we'll have to catch up on our next episode for dating, because I did not know that you were on a date.
Yeah.
We did that. So.
Date 2, yeah. In the same week, nonetheless. I feel like we'll talk about this in like a week and I won't even like be talking to him anymore.
What was happening?
Yeah. So yeah. We'll see. I'll tell you more.
I want to hear more.
Yeah.
All right. We're at our wrap up, I think.
We are. Yeah. I think that's just a very light toe dip into boundaries and advocating for yourself in just a couple aspects of life. So definitely more to unpack there, but good place to start.
Boundaries so much. Like that's definitely a new concept for me for both friendships and personal and work. And gosh, it feels kind of nice. And I'm happy. Like if I see you that have boundary, like, and you say no to something or whatever, it doesn't make me dislike you, like the collective you. It just makes me feel like, oh, that's respect. And that's who you are.
Yeah. And I feel like it maybe ignites something in you to be like, I'm going to try that. Like they're saying no because they're burnt out. Maybe I should try that, or like start doing that and see like if it works for me.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows?
Who knows? Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I like your sexy voice, but I don't know so let's get you better.
Yeah. So I'm going to take a nap after this and figure out my life. Maybe.
Progress.
All righty.
All right.
This was fun. Yeah.
And remember, you always have a seat at our table.
Always. Pull up a chair.
And that's a wrap of another episode of Bring Something to the Table.
We hope you enjoyed diving into the wild world of candid conversations with us.
Remember, you can catch all of our episodes on your favorite podcast platform.
And if you love what you heard, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review.
And your support means the world to us.
So until next time, keep embracing the messiness of life, keep seeking those shared experiences, and always remember,
you deserve a seat at our table.
Bye. Bye.